Here are 5 people who claim to be time travelers. Number 1. In the 1920s, a Swiss teacher named Paul Dienach went into a coma for a year. When he woke up, he began writing diary entries but didn't tell anybody what they were about. That is until he contacted one of his students so that they could translate it. It was revealed that Paul's diary entries weren't normal at all. Instead, they were detailed accounts of a fascinating story. He claims that during his coma, he awoke in the year 3906 AD as a man named Andrew Northman, a famous physician who had also just woken up from a coma. Paul claims that their bodies must have switched somehow during both of their accidents, and also makes some interesting predictions about the future. He claims that Earth will colonize Mars in around 200 years, but a natural disaster will occur that will wipe out the 20 million people living on the planet. He also states that a global war will occur 100 years later, and that it will be devastating to the planet, but will eventually end in a union. This global union will lead to a huge improvement on the planet, and the quality of people's lives will increase drastically. These journal entries were surprisingly detailed, and it felt like Paul genuinely believed what he was writing. But what's more surprising than that is that he never wanted anybody to read them. It was only after he gave them to his student that the journals were released, and Paul's story was discovered. If it wasn't for that, he more than likely would have kept it to himself. It's obviously hard to believe that this actually happened, and that Paul spent a period of time 2,000 years in the future, but it is actually believable that he thought this happened. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but if his predictions come true, that would be a good sign that he was telling the truth. Number 2. In 2003, a computer programmer living in Iowa, known as Dave Hill, got a number of interesting emails. The messages were marked as spam, but they weren't your traditional junk emails. Instead, they were emails from a man named Bob White, offering $5,000 to whoever could get a number of bizarre items, including an AMD dimensional warp generator and a time transducing capacitor. Hill was obviously intrigued and responded to this email stating that he could get what White needed. He photoshopped an online store and even sent White a box containing an old motor that he stated was the warp generator. Hill wanted White to come clean and say that this was a joke, but he never did. Instead, he thanked him for sending him the parts and asked him to help him with obtaining more items. Dave decided to stop his charade when he realized how serious this man was being about his mission, and after these emails spread a little bit and gained some popularity, the man was identified as Robert J. Tadino, a man who was in his young 20s who truly wanted to travel through time. It's hard to tell if Tadino believed he was a time traveler or if he simply wanted to do it, because some of the emails are conflicting, with some of them saying that they are a time traveler from 2003 and others simply saying that they want to travel through time. Either way, Tadino claimed that he sent over 100 million messages, so it's probably both. He claimed that he was 100% serious and that his mental state was completely perfect, and at times that was easy to believe because he seemed quite rational, but it was later revealed that he had been diagnosed with a number of mental illnesses. It's difficult to tell how many emails were actually sent by Tadino and how many others were sent by random people who are also claiming to be time travelers, but this remains as one of the most interesting spam email stories of the last few decades. Number 3. In 2002, a French Catholic priest and writer known as Father Francois Brune wrote a book called The Vatican's New Mystery. In the book, Brune wrote about an Italian priest and scientist named Pellegrino Ernetti, who apparently built a machine with a team of scientists known as the Chronovisor. This machine was allegedly able to pick up the radioactive frequencies of past events and essentially recreate them in real time, meaning the viewer could watch these events unfold as they were happening. Ernetti himself has stated that he used this machine to view certain historic events, including a performance of a lost piece of work in Rome in 169 BC, and even the crucifixion of Christ himself. He even stated that he photographed Jesus, and that photo was apparently leaked in 1972. This claim has been doubted, however, because it heavily resembles a sculpture created around the same time. While Brune and Ernetti's story is definitely interesting, a lot of people believe it's either fabricated or exaggerated. However, others believe that it's not only real, but that the machine is still being used by the Vatican today. The Vatican has been known for their numerous secrets, so certain theorists believe that they are using this device to gain more power in the world. Number 4. Apex TV is a YouTube channel that speaks to an array of different people who claim to be from the future. While they have had many different people on their channel, one of the most recurring guests is a man named Noah. Noah's first video was made in 2017, and he claims to be a time traveler from the year 2030 who is stuck in present time. He also makes several predictions, the biggest being that time travel will be released to the public in 2028. He also states that the technology has been discovered, but it's being kept a secret. Since this video has been released, Noah has made dozens of videos with Apex TV where he tries to prove that his story is true. In these videos, he does interviews, takes lie detector tests, and shows the audience things that are allegedly from the future, such as library pages, future maps of America, and nanotechnology. He also makes videos where he reveals the future of places like Canada, India, and the UK. Sometimes it is definitely hard to believe Noah's story, but if he is lying, he is going through a lot of effort to convince us otherwise. Videos about Noah are still being released today, so his story is ongoing, which means we should have more answers soon.
Hello to everybody who's watching me right now. I want to be clear while making this video. It is not my intent to deceive anybody. My sole objective is to prove to you that time travel exists in the next few years. In fact, I, myself, am a time traveler. I have traveled back to November 13th, 2017 from early in the year 2021. First of all of time travel will become possible in the year 2003. It is, however, only used by top secret organizations. The ability to time travel is not planned to be released to the public until 2028. I would like to give you specific facts about the future that will prove to you time travel exists, including who the President of the United States is in 2021. In just 4 years, you will see that my predictions are true. Then you'll come back to this video and know that time travel really does exist. In 2028, the private organizations will admit to the world that time travel is real, and it will be open to the public. Now I will tell you the reality of our future. For one, electric cars and self-driving cars will be dramatically improved. A consumer electric car will be able to drive over 600 miles on a single charge in 2021. Many people are spending a lot of their time in virtual reality. I would highly recommend investing your time and money in sustainable energy, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. AI will also be a huge and growing market in 2021.
Number 5. In 2013, a YouTube channel known as The Time Authority uploaded an interview with somebody who claimed to be a time traveler from the 30th century. The questions were apparently vetted by the time traveler himself so that nothing would drastically change in present day. He claims that he traveled to 2013 in a vehicle, but that time travel is possible and available in many forms in the future. He also states that money will soon be non-existent, and that many different societies are soon going to collapse due to a number of impending catastrophes. The interviewer seems pretty unimpressed by the time traveler's answers, but he does answer each question quite rationally, which makes the video interesting to watch. There hasn't been much of an update on this interview as of yet, so it's hard to know what happened after this, but he did make some predictions that are supposed to happen soon, so I guess we'll soon find out whether he was telling the truth or not.
Can you give me a sense of what's going to happen in our future? I mean,
in your lifetime?
In my lifetime.
Money, as you know it, disappears relatively soon after this event.
Okay.
But the end of money is actually a good thing. Your children and great-grandchildren will certainly see catastrophe.
So, these are terrible things that you're telling me.
When societies collapse, it's not pretty.
I was sort of under the impression that there was going to be a kind of a message of hope from the future.
Well, I'm here to tell you that limited resources, food, energy, what you would call money, exchange rates, those things are no longer limited.
Don't you think, though, that it would help, not just me, others, understand that this is real, what you're talking about, if we had some proof of time travel?
That's not what I agreed to in this interview. I agreed to talk to you about my experiences, and the messages that I'm here to seed are getting out there. We know that what I'm doing, that the organization that I'm part of, the stuff we do works. And it's not for you to question our methods.
And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. If you want to see more videos similar to this, you can subscribe down below. And if you want to see a part 2 to this video, you can let me know down below in the comments and I might just make one. I will leave my Instagram and Twitter down below if you want to follow me over there, both of which are DeBurk321. But like I said, that's all for now. As always, until next time.